But we're going to have a good show. Shout out to SUNY Newport. Shout out to Fayetteville University. The kid is more marketable to a coach when he has grades. When you really get into it and you see, like, what it really is at the top, it's kind of like, oh, do I really want this? You always got to get better every year at what you do, you know, and it took me a long time to realize that.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome to Dorman 101 Podcast, the podcast that has everything and nothing to do about college. I am your girl, Maya Gittens, of course, and I'm here with Victoria, of course, period, every day, all day. And today we have a guest with us, Terry. It's my other brother. Okay, my other brother.
The other brother.
So yeah, I have two, just to let y'all know, just two. I don't have any more after this, okay? Thank you. But yeah, hi. How are you?
What's going on? What's good? What's good?
I'm crying. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes.
Well, obviously everybody knows me as Terry, but my real name is Terrence. People call me TG, last name Gittens. I'm here with Dorman 101, little sis, and this is my first time meeting you. So
Victoria.
thank you. But we're going to have a good show. Shout out to SUNY Newport. Shout out to Fayetteville University. Currently, I am a U.S. History 5th grade teacher, and also I am a dean as well. I wear many hats inside the school system, but it's a great experience.
Yeah, period.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody over there.
Cool. We getting into the tea, y'all. Getting into the tea.
Yeah, let's get to the tea.
Tell us about your college experience.
Man, well, I went to college in 2005.
God, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm old school. But I graduated in 2010. I was a sociology major. I went to SUNY Newport. It's one of the state schools of New York.
Okay.
Upstate New York. My college experience, I actually went to college to play ball. I played basketball, you know, growing up. Coming from Brooklyn. I went to a good high school, Savarian High School. Shout out to everybody over there, my brothers. I ended up going to SUNY Newport to play basketball. I ended up playing a year and a half. I had a bad ankle injury. So that actually forced me to stop playing. But I stayed in the game. I actually started coaching, you know, elementary school kids. While I was still in school. So I used to come during the summer and then, you know, get, you know, within the community. And shout out to my mentor, Coach Lloyd. I'm at St. John's Rec in Brooklyn, Crown Heights. He actually introduced me to coaching, you know, within the community, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay.
So I'm actually probably 20 seasons next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
a long time.
I've been doing it since
That's a long time. Yeah. I feel like people don't also realize with sports, like, when people be like, oh, I've been in for 20 seasons, like, that's like 20, 40, 30. Like, that's a very long time when you, like, think of how long a season is. Because even, I know basketball is, the second longest season or the first? Because I know it's, like, basketball, hockey, and, like, baseball. Those are, like, the top, like, seasons that are, like, the longest seasons. And shout out to everybody that actually works in sports, period. Period. But what would you say is the most challenging part about, you know, working in the New York school district?
To be honest, I think you have to have a passion for it. Because, you know, kids change. Yeah. Students change. They change every year. You know, they grow. You know, then you get a new batch, and it's just kind of like it's different personalities. You got to learn how to manage that. And as the kids are exposed to like different visions, I'm gonna call it, you know, social media outlets. You know, they all have phones now, no matter what age now. So, you know, they see everything. So they're influenced by so many other things other than education. So I think it's sometimes hard, but I think if you work in education, you have to have an open mind. You know, you have to be on social media, fortunately, because, you know, it helps with building your personality, you know, and it's the new TV, you know. So, and if kids watch it, you got to watch it to stay in the loop. You know, that's basically how I go. And some fall behind the wayside, but some actually, you know, elevate themselves. You know, they innovate, they become more innovative, you know. And then, you know, the students adapt to that, you know, and that's how you kind of like keep that relationship and, you know, you keep elevating with them as well. So, you know, that's probably the hardest thing I see. Really? Yeah, the elevating together. You know, you got to keep yourself young, like they say. Yeah, you got to keep yourself young. You got to.
You got You gotta stay young. I don't listen. I feel like sometimes, obviously, like going to your games and stuff like that, like it's definitely an eye opener because my first pick was never basketball. But obviously, like, we're a basketball family.
Absolutely.
And then obviously, like, just seeing the transition from obviously when you were in North Carolina and you were doing like the assistant coach for Pfeiffer. How was that transition for, you know, seeing from the South, especially, you know, because I represent the South now, okay? But,
she's
you
a
know,
Southern belle.
Yeah, very much so. So just going from, like, you know, the South, or really from New York to the South back to New York, how was that transition for you?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think I needed it. You know, the funny thing about that story, I was coaching, this was about August 2016. I remember I was coaching this Nike League project win. Shout out to my man Lee Church, Clinton Hills, 113 Park, and I actually, you know, was coaching a playoff game that day, quarterfinals actually. And for some reason, like, I was having like this feeling of like getting my master's degree. You know, I had my bachelor's at the time. You know, I was out of school for maybe like 6 years. And I remember with this one particular day, I won the game, but for some reason I didn't feel good. I was just like, I'm ready to just grow. Is that one of those moments you have where you just like, you ready? So luckily, I'm walking to my car, I called Dad, you know, and I'm like, Dad, I think, you know, I'm ready to elevate. I'm just going off at the mouth. I'm ready to elevate. I want to go get my master's. Like, I'm just telling him a whole bunch of stuff, but that's just how I'm feeling at the time. In the relationship we had, I just always just come off and just blurt out things. And he just slow me down all the time. Like, all right, let's take a breath. What we really talking about? So I told him, I was like, I think I'm ready to go back to school, get my master's degree. But, you know, I've been coaching since a teen, so I'm ready to see what college basketball is about. And, you know, he's listening to my story, and I'm going off at the mouth, and he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm going to call you back. I got to take out the garbage. Like, he had too much. So luckily, he went outside to actually take out the garbage, and right across the street was the head men's basketball coach at Fayetteville University. And, you know, Dad, like, he's one of those guys, he'll just walk up to you, especially if he heard that that's what you do. He walked up to him, like, taking out the garbage together. He's like, hey, coach, you know, do you got any assistant coaching jobs at Pfeiffer? And he was like, I actually gave my last one up today.
Wow.
But I got a grad assistant position. For those who don't know about grad assistants, like, you don't get paid physical money, but they pay for your degree. So
That's insane. Because that like was a full circle moment. Like, wow. Like, you call your dad and you're like, I want to get my master's, and literally like a position like opens right then and there. That's crazy.
It was just a funny moment. So he went outside. He walked up to him. He told him that he had a grad assistant position open, and if he wanted it, he got to call me tomorrow by 1:00. This is August. I'm gonna say August 19th, something like that, 2016. And you know, like that, he comes in like, say no more. He'll take it. He walks inside. He calls me back. I'm still driving. I'm just actually driving around Brooklyn at this time, like, just really like in deep thought about what's next. You know, you always go through those moments. And he called me back. He's like, yeah, so check this out. He always starts to say this like that. Check this out. Coach said he got a grad assistant position. I already told him you're gonna take it. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah. He said you gotta be down here about August 26th. This is probably like 7 days from now. So he's like, yeah. So they Division II. So you're gonna be a student. You get your master. They're gonna pay for it. You're not gonna get paid, but we'll figure that out when you get down here. Like, he planned my whole life
within seconds.
Wow.
Like, and I always call my pops this. He's a clutch player. You know, like, he was so busy in his life that he got so many experiences to tell, you know, for those who would listen, and I was one of those people. And he actually was just like, listen, this is the opportunity you wanted. You asked for this. It came at the right time. So I see, like, sit on it for tonight. You know, let me know what you're gonna do in the morning, and then you gotta call him by 1:00. So I ended up, you know, sitting on, you know, all night just thinking, and just kind of like contemplating, like, do I really want to do this? Am I just talking? Am I just, you know? But
and I feel like that's where being uncomfortable comes in.
Absolutely.
It's like, are you willing to be uncomfortable? Because I feel like that's how we elevate. Like you said earlier, like, you have to be in uncomfortable situations to really be able to see like, okay, can I handle this?
Absolutely.
Can I, you know, and I say this all the time, like, it's either you gonna sink or you gonna swim.
That's it. It's either or. You know what I mean? So, man, I thought about it all night. So I woke up that morning. He calls me first, right? I can't even.
Look, I need an answer.
I need an answer. So when I spoke to him, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I was that confident, you know. But I didn't tell him the reason why I was really going. But that was like the reason why I'm going down there to pursue this dream. But I really wanted to go down there so we could rebuild and elevate together as father and son, you know, because him being down there for some time, you know, and I'm being in New York, I'm having my own experience. So I'm kind of like, you know, this is the time for us to really get to the next chapter. So, you know, I had to do the behind the scenes work, transcript, all of that type of stuff. So I got all that. I got into the school, spoke to the coach, sent me the contract, signed it. And then he told me I had to be down there about August 26th. So I'm sitting in, you know, grandma's house, and I'm like, I got to pack all this stuff and leave in 6 days, 6.5. So I'm just like, whatever. So I just packed everything. Well, most of the stuff, you know, my sneakers and all that, you know, my clothes. And I packed my little Honda Civic up, and I left. I left, August 26th at 3 a.m. My first coaches meeting was at 5:30. If you don't know about that North Carolina drive, it's like 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's like one of those drives when you get to Virginia, you just kind of like,
yeah,
oh, man. Like, this is the 2.5-hour straight run. So I did the 10 hours. I got to Dad's house maybe like 4:45. So I'm like, but I, you know, being responsible, I called the coach, like, yo, coach, listen, I'm just getting into North Carolina at 4. It says I'll be at my dad's house about 4:45. So he pushed the meeting back to 6. Because it's 30 minutes. It was 35 minutes from the house to the campus. So, you know, I'm rushing to Dad's house. I open the door, the keys under the mat. I threw all my stuff in there. The house looked crazy. And I hopped in a Civic, and I went, and I'm just driving, just seeing, like, you know, just the new environment that I'll be in. You know, like, I'm just soaking it in these 35 minutes. And when I got to the campus and I pulled into the arena, I walked in, and I'm just looking around like I was really in my grandmother's house 7 days ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thinking about this moment.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm walking in, and, you know, just having like those silent moments, and I just hear my name, like Gittins. And it was the coach, Coach Currier. Shout out to Coach Currier. I looked up. He's like, yeah, we all up here. So I get in the elevator, I go upstairs, and it's 4 coaches. It's coach here, coach here, coach here, coach here, and it's a seat here. And it's my seat. But I'm coming in looking real New York. I got my hat backwards. Like, I got, you know, my Nike. I got Nike everything on, but I'm just really looking city like, you know, like you could tell that I haven't been in this field.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in the field in the grassroots, you know, level, but this is college basketball now. You know, so I just look like grassroots. So I sat down in the chair, and in the chair was, you know, my coaching book, a binder with everything in it. I had to learn it, study it. And on top of that, I'm in school. I start school tomorrow, you know? So now it's like everything I asked for, I got in 7 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And now it's whether are you going to sink or are you going to swim?
You know, that's what it is. And, you know, that night, but the crazy thing is that night, I knew that I was going home to a conversation. You know, like, all of this is cool to, you know, get in here. I drove 10 hours. But the real thing I was looking forward to was the conversation with my dad, like, that night. Like, all right, listen, you here? This is how I go. Yeah. Just the whole rules. It's just more rules. You know what I'm saying? But it built discipline. You know, and that's just how I grew up. Like, just, you know, with my uncles and my dad and just other men in the community that just, you know, seen something in me that pushed me to just be better. That just built my discipline. You know, so having this conversation with him. He's just laying the law down on how things are going out here, and I'm just sitting there like, all right, yeah, I was gonna pack, call my friend, I want to do the cool stuff, but I know I had to sit for this conversation because I knew that I was representing him out there, and also my sister. So, they hear, little Terry coming down, like I said it. Look. They hear little Terry coming down, and my, knowing my dad, like he's talking to everybody about it in these 6 days.
Yeah.
And I get down there, my son coming. He at Pfeiffer, and he's just excited.
Yeah.
And I love that. So, that night we had the conversation. I remember, us, we was probably talking for maybe 3 hours. I had the conversation recorded.
Oh my God.
I gotta find it, but it was like one of those conversations where it's like, I feel this is gonna work. Like, we're gonna be better than ever, and this experience, going to school, coaching, is gonna build my character. It's gonna build that relationship. I'm gonna build with my sister. She's been out there.
Yeah.
So I just really was looking forward to the outside experiences, and also the on-court experiences as well. So that transition was just one of those life moments where it's like you said, sink or swim.
Yeah.
You wanted it, you got it. It's either you're gonna take it or leave it. And I took it. And that feeling when everybody should experience that. Like, you ask for something and it's right there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been my whole life, ups or downs.
Yeah.
So that experience was just like, it disciplined me to be a better person. It actually built my professionalism, also my knowledge of the game. Because you think, the funny thing is, like, when you think like you doing something, it's like, yeah, I'm nice at this. Like, it's coming to me natural.
Then
but
you get into it.
And when you really get into it and you see like what it really is at the top, it's kind of like, oh, do I really want this? Do I really want to put in this time? Do I really want to dedicate my years to this craft? And, it actually showed me something that I never knew about myself, that I could take direction.
Yeah.
As an adult. Because I feel like sometimes as an adult, you struggle with that, like taking direction from other adults.
Yeah.
But that's because the level of discipline that you have is low, and I feel like we should all have that, and that's what it built for me, like that discipline and professionalism, my knowledge of the game. And when I came back to New York, it was just kind of like, after graduating, it was just kind of like, I feel like I was ready, to really like make a player, a student athlete better.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I had the knowledge. Like, I feel like I climbed the mountain to go get that. And, not many people that I know reached that mountain, whether it was Division 2 or 1.
Yeah.
It's still college basketball. Like, it's still like somewhere not everybody could go.
Yeah.
So that experience was crazy. It was something I always remember.
How was like the transition of like dealing with younger kids and going to older kids?
That was the biggest transition on the court. Because I started coaching elementary school kids, we talking 8, 9, 10 years old. And so they basically, I went from elementary to when they turned teens, I was with them till they was 14. So I coached elementary and junior high school. So I feel like where I was at with it was so intense. I was coaching, I was traveling, I was in top tournaments, I was playing against the best. So I feel like in the street, I was doing something that mattered.
Yeah.
Right? I was really giving back, and it was giving back to me by putting me in a position to be seen, putting my players in a position to be seen, and people noticing our talent and giving us opportunities. But honestly speaking, the coming back to New York thing was, I just want to say this, the coming back to New York thing with a different experience, you could help your community, right? You could really do that.
Very true.
You could fix a lot of things, right? I feel like you have to go outside your comfort zone, like you said. You have to, and be uncomfortable, and that's how you gain all of those experiences, by figuring it out, and then you can always come back, and then you could give those jewels to, the younger generation. That's what I'm all about, and that's what the men around me are about. Our uncles, our dad. Our dad coached football forever. Forever. There's so many players that played under him. It was just kind of like they all remember him for that experience. They always remember like those jewels that he gave them. So for sure.
What would you put, like, obviously, like a goal that you have? Obviously, like, we know you want to work in basketball.
Yeah, and education too.
Yeah.
I feel like it goes both.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely goes hand in hand. I feel like, you have to be educated on basketball.
You have to.
But also I feel like when it comes to even players like, G and like the people that we're around and things of that nature, just seeing like you have to be able to read your contract. Like you have to be able to know things on a business aspect as well. Like, yeah, you can always hire people, but like, they also want money too.
Yeah.
So I guess my biggest question, or one of my questions, is what is a goal that you have for, like, what do you want to do within the community? Like, what do you see yourself doing to where not only leaving a legacy, which we talked about with JV, like leaving a legacy, but also just kind of like putting something into the community and knowing that it works?
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I started that, but I just really haven't tapped into it the way I was supposed to.
Okay.
Or the way I'm supposed to. But I got, my thing, Hoop Locker. Hoop Locker, I started off, it was actually the Christmas of like the December before I left.
Yeah.
The Christmas of 2016. 2015 actually. And I was sitting in my living room and I'm just kind of like, I'm training all these kids and I've got these videos and like what to really do with it. So I felt like I wanted to build a platform showing myself training kids. Other people have done it, but I think I had my own idea and my own way of doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm really into like film as a hobby. Like I play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I started editing my own videos, like just like a little app on your iPhone. I love slow motion for some reason. I just felt like it always intertwined with like the music, right? So I wanted to build this platform to showcase kids' talent that I work with. You're right. That was my first thought of actually giving back to the community and the kids that I work with who had dreams of going to college to play ball. Manzi, G, all the kids that I've coached. I felt like my platform would kind of showcase them more. So that was my one staple that I wanted to give. Like, I'm going to just make these hot videos that I feel like is so good, but they was really trash at the time. And I'm just kind of like, at the time, people was liking it. It was just something different, that I really didn't see people doing. So I just started like just showcasing my talent, showcasing the kids' talent.
Yeah.
And, I started getting good feedback and Hoop Locker started to get a little name. And then I just kept on going with it. I wanted to build a platform to showcase, where kids want to go to high school. I wanted to do the interviewing, like everything. Yeah. But I just kind of like stuck with the pictures at the time. I didn't know what content really was. It wasn't really big at that time. It probably was, but I didn't really know nothing about it. I just knew camera, press record, and then we got all these other features. So I felt like that was my first step into this is the way I'm going to give back. I'm going to just build this platform. And the players that I, in my circle, I'm gonna give back to them like this. I'm gonna put y'all on my page, and people gonna like it. I'm gonna send it, and that whole ordeal. So, that was my one way of building that the Hoop Locker, just for the players that I work with. So yeah.
When it comes to, I guess, like generations, right? Because obviously, like we're in the same generation.
Yeah, so, 2 different generations.
Yeah, 2 different generations. Like, how do you feel like you can impact the younger generation, obviously based on your experience and the things that you've kind of been through when it comes to college and everything else?
Man, I like my college experience, I was exposed to everything, like sports. My friends are in fraternities and sororities. I was I seen that on campus. I've seen, other clubs, so I've been exposed to a lot of things that I feel like can help the younger generation if you choose to go to college. And then after graduating, I also had life experiences as well. So I feel like I had a balance, you know what I'm saying? And my balance actually would help a kid who feel like basketball ain't working. All right, boom, if you want to go to college, get a degree, get a job, what you want to make, because I feel like everybody has to have a number.
Yeah.
Like, I want to make 100,000. Well, this is what it's going to take. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I feel like every kid that I work with, they always had that dream of playing college ball. And I'm like, listen, if you want to play college ball, you got to have grades.
Yeah.
You got to have grades. Yeah. It was back in those times. Like, if you want to do this, you got to work hard. You got to put in the work. But when a college coach see that work, and he's interested, it's always that one question that they're going to ask at the end of all the good questions you want to hear. We like you. We want you to come visit. We got this gift for you, da-da-da. But that question's like, yeah, how's your grades? And it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, my grades is not that good.
Yeah.
And, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. Like, a recruiter talking to a kid, and he's going, how's your grades? Like, yeah, I got about a C. And they go...
Yeah.
Oh, when you see that face, you kind of like my opportunity slipping.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I seen that, I put the pressure on any kid that I encounter with on the court. Like, listen, if you want this, you gotta have good grades. That's the key. It makes it easier for the coach. You know what I'm saying? To be like, okay, yeah, I want him. The grades are not an issue. Here's the scholarship. How's the character? You know, they start getting to those. And nowadays, it's kind of like the social media, they go right to that. That's one thing I would give to the new generation is that social media, when you a top prospect,
it's very helpful.
It's very helpful, but you got to use it a certain way, which I do see happening now. But when, you know, Instagram was, you know, starting, you know, we was posting anything, you know, without a conscience, without common sense. But now it's like, you know, that's the first thing a coach would do. Like, hey, what's his kid's name? What's his Instagram?
Yeah.
Because you can sit at your desk and be like, okay, let me see his Instagram. Okay, good family.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, that's good. But then when they see something negative, it kind of puts like a
bad taste.
That's a little. But we could work with that, or we cannot. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like the new generation, just if you know, Instagram, you be free and do your thing, but you know,
careful.
you got to be careful with it because that's what they judge sometimes. You know, most times.
That's actually a really good point.
I think that's even too, because I think even seeing what's posted on social media, like if you're being messy and stuff, like it sees the character in you, and like if you're someone that you're really good at ball and this is something that you can become famous at, now people got to back you up when it comes to media and dealing with all these people.
Exactly.
I was gonna ask you, when it comes to like grades and stuff, because I feel like obviously too, like when it comes to student athletes, they feel like student athletes don't have to put in the work in school, right? That's like a big thing. They're like, oh, they don't care about college athletes when it comes to their grades.
They got people to
you
do
know,
their homework.
you know that whole aspect and stuff. So why would you feel like it's important? Like, what would you tell a student why it's important that they do the work in school?
To be honest with you, nowadays, you know, everybody want to get paid in college, especially if you play top level basketball.
Yeah.
You know, they see them NIL deals, and you know they giving them out with a bag too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you want me to go to your school? I need an NIL deal. Yeah, I'll go to class. So obviously the class comes second. You know what I'm saying? Because they want that bag first. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you could get a kid if you introduce him to that, because every kid want to get fly, every kid want to look fly on their Instagram and all that type of stuff. And I'm not against that. I want to look fly too.
Yeah.
I want to be able to send my mom's $200, you know, whatever the case may be. That's a good feeling to give, you know, but the grades aspect is just something that they need for admissions, you know, like whether they, you know, they valid grades or they not, you know what I'm saying? Like they just need that, you know, but I also would tell kids this, and my dad told me this, and this was something that stuck with me forever. He was like, a kid is more marketable at the time. He was saying this. A kid is more marketable to a coach when he has grades, because when he goes back to the campus and he goes to admission, like, this kid got a 90 average, so grades are not an issue. They're gonna transfer that $100,000 scholarship. You're gonna come on a visit. They're gonna blow you out the water. They're going to show you everything that you like, and then it's a good situation for you. You feel good. You made it easier for yourself. But I also would tell kids to have a plan B, you know, and that's why I said education is important. Because you could have this God-given talent, but the ball always stop bouncing. You know what I'm saying? The ball always stop bouncing, whether you have a long career or a short career. It's going to stop bouncing. You know what I'm saying? And you always got to have that plan B. And that's why I preach education is so important. You know, so I always tell kids that, you know, put those grades first, because it makes the situation easy, and you can always fall back. Go to school, if you choose to go to school, and nowadays you could go to G League, you could skip that. But most kids go to college. And most kids that I know that are actually about to embark on that journey, I say have a major, you know, have a plan B, a career that you want to fall back on when the basketball stop bouncing. You know, and some take heed to that. Some, you know, they want to pursue medicine. They want to pursue, you know, business administration, business management, sports management. Because once the ball stop bouncing, I know somebody right now, I ain't going to say his name, though. He's going to see this. He's going to be like, that's me. But I had a good conversation with a player of mine, and he was talking about what he wanted. I asked him what he wanted to do after this. And he was basically like, you know, I want to use basketball to, you know, get a free education. But he wanted to work in sports, so he wants to be a physical therapist.
Oh, wow.
Sports medicine. So I'm like, okay, well, you already got your plan B. Now you just got to use your plan A to get the free ride to get to your plan B. You know, not everybody has dreams to make it to the league. You know what I'm saying? Some people, And it's like I said, my dad used to always tell me this. You got to use your gift.
Yeah.
You know, even if you don't have dreams to make it pro or to the league, you got to use your gift to get that free education, to be in those doors where you could meet different people. You could be in those same rooms.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You could use your brain to really like have good conversations, and people could start, you know, giving you knowledge, and you can, you know, feed it off to the next generation. Yeah. So I feel like having that plan A and plan B is so superb. Like you have to have that.
I feel like even seeing that was a very good point, because I feel like for me, a lot of the athletes that at least I saw that were like in my classes and stuff, like I obviously knew like I wanted to do communication. There was a reason I was like, okay, if not criminal justice, I know that, you know, communications I can kind of use abroad. I can use it anywhere. And then when I see athletes that are like in my classes and like, or they're in like recreational management, like, you know, those easy kind of like majors, I'm like, so, and not to say like this is obviously a bad thing, but I can tell it's like, oh, like, this is going to sound really bad, but it's like, oh, you think you're going to go far. Yeah. Like, that is my ultimate like thought process, because it's like, you came here for a free education, but you're expecting to get into the NFL. You're expecting to get into the NBA. Like, you're expecting that. And I think that that's something that this generation that are like going into college, that they do need to have a plan B. And I get it. It probably does bother a lot of athletes it's probably very like insulting to hear like, so what's your plan B if that doesn't work? We're not saying that to make you feel like it's not going to work,
at all.
But it's also a reality check to get you to understand like, yeah, you're going for a free education, but find something else that you're going to like you said, because the ball will stop bouncing. Yeah. You're going to retire. You're not going to play football or basketball for the rest of your life. Yeah. You need to find something else that's going to make you money, you know, and use whatever money that you get from college or whatever the case may be, you know, to get something else on the ball.
You got to use it.
Like, bro, like you saying that makes so much sense because even seeing these athletes now, and I'm like, I always ask, what are you going to do after this?
That's a question nobody want to answer.
It's literally the most, seems like when I ask, it is the most insulting question I've ever asked. And it's like, oh, I love the enthusiasm. I'm going to the draft. Mm-hmm. Hey, hey, if that is the plan, that is a plan. But what if it doesn't work? And unfortunately for a lot of these athletes, it doesn't work. Yeah. So it's like, you're competing with so many kids.
Thanks.
So many kids. So now it's like, if it's possible, what are you going to do? If, you know, it's just, it makes so, like, the ball, like, I don't know, that title, the ball will stop. The ball will stop bouncing. Yeah. No, for real.
It's true.
It's so true. The ball will stop bouncing at some point in time in your career, whether it's, like you said, an injury or, you know, anything. You're getting old. You're not about to be 65 playing basketball anymore because now you got the younger generation. Like you're always going to be replaced when it comes to sports.
Yeah,
I think that's something that I'm learning now being into it. Like when these new, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't know his name, but the shout out to him. I think he goes to, I'm not going to say it because I don't even know the school. But shout out to him. He freaking jumped 40-40 vertical.
Oh, I seen that.
Oh, my God.
Football player.
Yes.
Yeah, I seen that.
And they said he's 5'9", but I think he's a little shorter. But
that's even better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
jump, you know,
he's
he look
a little shorter, like maybe 5'7", 5'8".
Yeah.
You know, but the fact that he, like, I've never really seen somebody jump his height with that crazy of a vertical on top of, he's coming to take somebody's place that's already in the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah. He's going to the draft. Yep. Yeah. That vertical, come on. And his, like, he did a 50.9 with, like, the pad. Mm-hmm. Like the...
The landing pad. Yep.
What the freak?
Yeah.
So just to see, like, hey, like, despite what you want to do, especially athletes, like, your spot will always be replaceable. Yeah. Unfortunately, I know it sounds bad, but that's unfortunately the way of the world when it comes to sports. Yeah. You are replaceable.
That's anything, though, honestly speaking.
Yeah.
You gotta, you know, honestly speaking, I wouldn't say it's everything, because some people, you know, they going and they staying. Yeah. But I feel like you should have that mindset, though, because it could really help you. Like, you could say, let's say you're a freshman. Like, I feel like this is how it goes. You a highly recruited freshman, you coming in, you got a big name from where you from.
Yeah.
let's say you have a decent freshman year. You always got to remember, you could always be replaced.
Yeah.
The coach maybe wanted more out of you. His expectations was high.
High, yeah.
And if you don't live up to those expectations, somebody may say, "Hey, coach, I got another guard over here in Chicago or any other major cities.
Yeah.
Maybe taller, faster, jump higher,
and now
more
you're competing.
Discipline, all of the things that you may not have delivered from the expectation, and you get recruited over.
Yeah.
And some kids can't handle that. But what happens now is, like, they got the transfer portal.
Yeah.
The transfer portal, I feel like it helps, but it hurts as well because it's a lot of talent in there. It's a lot of talent that may not be seen or may not have that.
And not everybody
second,
gets picked.
Third opportunity. Yeah, not everybody gets picked, but it's a good outlet for coaches to go and say, "Hey, we looking for a point guard." Pull up all the point guards, and you got to go through those films.
Yeah.
Film is important. I tell kids all the time, that's why social media is important to use the right way. Because you could have a dad and a son. Your son is good. All you got to do is pull out that phone and listen, record everything that y'all do, upload it, and then boom, right there, it get traction, and now you got content, and now it get in front of the right person.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm looking for. Contact, DM, phone call. It's so easy,
Yeah.
But honestly speaking, I feel like everybody should have that mentality. You have a good year, next year, somebody may come in and try to replace you. You always got to get better every year at what you do. And it took me a long time to realize that. But when you finally get that understanding, then you want to make yourself better. You want to read books. You want to gain your knowledge. You want to work out. You want to change the way you eat. You want to, look a certain way at a certain age. You want to have certain things at a certain age. If you feel like you ain't making enough money to have a house or a condo, you're going to have to get a side hustle. You're going to have to save your money. You're going to have to do something different than what you did the previous year. And I feel like it takes a while to really learn that. You got to go through something. You got to be down and out. You got to have it, lose it, get it back. Like, you got to have that grind and that hunger. And I feel like sometimes people may not have that.
Yeah.
Or you may learn it. You learn things through the things you go through.
Yeah, very true.
For sure.
What would be well, I guess you kind of put a lot of pieces of advice out there.
Yeah.
But what would be like one gem that you are able to drop for people who are, in that position of feeling like, listen, I'm going to make it. not they're going to make it, but like just like a college or going into high school, like one of those students, when it comes to really just anything in life, just like using education or how to use it, piece of advice?
Man, I have conversations with players all the time, G being one of them. And we had a good conversation, and right now he's in the transfer portal. And that was his decision. But I'm going to have to go back to this previous summer. I could curse on him?
Yeah.
He worked his ass off.
Yeah.
I will say that. But I'm not even talking on the court. I'm talking off the court. His whole mentality changed.
Yeah.
And that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
I was waiting for his mentality to change so he could finally realize, like, I could do this.
Yeah.
And not worry about what everybody else is doing. Like, you got all your blessings in front of you. So I'm going to say, like, his summer was so remarkable. Like, he showed me his work ethic. He was traveling. He was everywhere. But he was everywhere he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
To get where he is now. So the whole goal was for him to go to the school he went to in North Dakota. I say, yo, listen, you got to do 20 and 10. That's where we at to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And he went out there and did that. You know what I'm saying? So I seen the work. I seen the in-between that everybody didn't see. But I always tell him, like, yo, listen, it's going to be downs, it's going to be ups. We had this conversation the other night. He, in the transfer portal, nobody really hitting you back. But I say, listen, you've been in this position forever, like, and you always gotten somewhere.
Yeah.
Something always came through. So now, when we at this level, you gotta have that mentality. Like, yeah, I know right now nobody calling, but it always come through. It always come through. You know what I'm saying? It's always happened to us like that, and we just gotta have patience. As human beings, I feel like we don't have enough patience.
No.
Because you want it to happen right now, but
you ask for it and be like, now.
Yeah, now. I mean, it worked like that sometimes, but it don't. Yeah. For me, it did once, right? It happened, and you want that feeling back, but like, listen, it may not happen like this again, but I walked away with a lot, and I feel like with him, like, he has the opportunity in front of him he don't know what's coming yet. Yeah. And when they get here, he gonna be ready for it. Yeah. He's prepared for it. He worked out. He went through his trials and tribulations. He's been to different schools. He's been to different environments. Played for some great people. He's met a lot of people within this game, and he's gonna go far. Yeah. But I just he already know what his plan B is. That's the crazy thing. Yeah. But I told him to just stay below the radar. Sometimes you gotta just be low with it, work, let other people get the fame. You know what I'm saying? When your time come, you're gonna be where you're supposed to be, and everybody gonna see, and everybody gonna be hitting you like, yo, listen. Yeah. I seen your grind, bro. I got a link. You know how it go. And, knowing G, he gonna be like, yeah. And then you ain't gonna hear from him. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta be selfish a little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And right now, I feel like, this is the time where he should be. Yeah. Because I see it coming. If anybody gonna see it, besides our family, I'm definitely gonna see it because I seen him work. Yeah. I seen him want this, know? So I just wish him the best of luck.
Period. But I really, really am happy that you came because that was definitely needed, especially from that aspect. Like, I didn't listen, either we need to talk more or something, because I didn't, hearing what you were talking about, I was like, wait, what? Besides, like, Pfeiffer and stuff. But it's interesting to see your take on, like, school, especially here. Because obviously, like, I left from New York and then went to North Carolina, so I really don't know what it's like to kind of be in the school district in New York, especially when it comes to like middle school, high school at that as well. So just hearing your side and like being in the school and seeing kind of what in a sense needs to be changed and like what's working and what's not for all students across the board is very helpful, because I think one of our biggest goals is definitely, like I keep saying, and it's gonna happen, is to get in schools. Like that is a huge thing that we want to do.
I think it's needed. Yeah. You know what the funny thing is that a lot of schools, whether it's elementary, junior, middle school, or high school, or even college, I feel like, but mainly those levels, I feel like they should adopt programs where they introduce students to other skills. Yeah. Right? Because if you really look at it, math, English, history, science, right? You could use podcasting for that. Like that may be your passion, and you see on Instagram a lot of doctors and nurses have, reels of showing their life and their experiences. I feel like they should be in schools more because it'll show them a different craft. It'll show them how to, it'll perfect their public speaking. I took a class in my undergrad of public speaking. I didn't really know what was going on. I was just like, I could talk.
I took that class and I was so scared to take that class because I was like, I'm the worst at this. Like I thought I was gonna fail the class.
Are you afraid of talking in front of a large crowd?
So, which is funny because I'm doing this podcast. Right? But I took that class and it developed me so much on public speaking. Like I'm so glad I took that class. So it's such a good thing that they put that in colleges and stuff. But I do feel like they should.
They need to put it in like middle schools and high schools.
It'll help, especially like because it's a lot of kids out here with personalities.
Very.
Like I'm talking, I teach 5th grade.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I deal with so many personalities on a daily basis. Sometimes I be sitting there laughing like I should start doing a reel, because a lot of these kids be like the attitudes, the personalities, the sense of humor, I'm not jacking that, Mr. G. Like, but I feel you, like, and I'm just sitting there like, am I really having a conversation with a 5th grader? Right. But you ever seen that show? Are you smarter than a 5th grader? Yeah. Sometimes I be sitting there like, wait a minute, you do got a point. And I be sitting there thinking like, wait a minute, like, did he just
correct?
Wait a minute.
Nah.
You know what? He right. She right. But I think that is just, it's a good thing. Like they should have that in schools. Not only podcasts, it could be it could be engineering. Like, it could be, something where it'll attract them back into building a career for themselves. Because yes, we do have the music. Yeah. We do have clothing. A lot of kids, they into the fashion. Yeah. Some is into tech. Yeah. So I feel like going those directions are really good. It'll build the field. Yeah. And it'll also, build a career for an inner city kid. You know? Yeah. So I feel like you should definitely bring those into schools. Yeah. I've had those experiences where I've brought in programs into schools, and introduced something to a school where whether it's after school, whether it's intertwined within the schedule, but it also gives them a mental break as well. I feel like from COVID to now, it's kind of like we went through such a whirlwind mentally, you know, people was inside for 2 years. Like the educational system was shut down. It had to adjust. Like, when's the last time, you know, we've stepped away from the traditional aspect of education? That was the first time where we had to go remote. So you actually trusting parents and students to get online and attend class.
From home.
Wake up on time at home. It may sound easy, but it really wasn't easy. Even for teachers, it was nowhere near easy. It was just kind of like, you know, you went out the night before, you came in late. Oh yeah, I could get up at 7, 8 o'clock, and you getting up at 8:30. Like, oh, you know, really catching yourself. So I feel like, you know, it was just a big adjustment. You know, so it was a time where you had to really get adjusted. And some people fell, some people didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
For sure.
Period. Well, thank you for coming on, for sure. Like,
for sure, anytime.
That was definitely needed. We're definitely going to do another episode about something else. But, no, I think it's very much so needed to just kind of talk about what's going on in schools. I feel like, you know, teachers are very overwhelmed, and there's just a lot of things that they need help with, on top of, you know, like you said, giving kids the ability to just have, like, a reset where it's like, hey, we have this program coming in, and you guys get to ask them all the questions you want, like, and that obviously also gives me some ideas, but I think it's definitely needed, and I really do appreciate you, you know, coming on and, you know, telling your college experience, and you know,
I got
so
more
much
to
more.
talk about. I'm gonna be on. It was just part 1.
On
part 2 on the way.
Part 2, no, for sure. There's a lot more to talk about, but so thank you guys for watching Dorm 101 Podcast, the podcast that has everything and nothing to do about college. I am your girl, Maya Games, and of course, I am here with Victoria and my brother, Terry, and we will see you guys in our next video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're listening. What it do? Hey. And bye guys.
Bye.